Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So in this video I'm going to show you how I make my all natural baking soda free deodorant. I have been I have been using this deodorant for around 18 months and I absolutely love it. It's the best natural deodorant that I have ever used, and I have used a lot of natural deodorants and none of them have worked bar this one. So I can't use natural deodorants with baking soda in them at all. It irritates so bad my underarms and I end up with a really painful red rash, which is rather unsightly and not very pleasant at all. And I was getting quite disheartened because I wanted to stop using antiperspirant commercially made deodorants because I don't personally think that they're very safe. A lot of them contain aluminium. You don't want that anywhere near your you don't want it going into an area where your breasts are, basically, because there are links to antiperspirant deodorant and breast cancer, and I got quite concerned about that. So I started looking for natural deodorants, and everything I brought just brought me out in a rash. And then the ones that I got from the supermarket, they weren't 100% natural, but they weren't too bad. They just didn't work. And I'm sorry, but no one wants to be walking around smelling of body odor. I'm really quite fussy with my personal hygiene, and that just wasn't gonna do it for me. So I started doing some research into some different sort of products and different ingredients that I could use, and I came up with this one and I absolutely love it. So I thought that I would show you how to make it and what I use. So you need 3/4 of a cup of either cornstarch or cornmeal, as it's called over here, or tapioca starch. I'm using tapioca starch, which is this very fine, fluffy white powder, or you could use arrowroot powder. I use tapioca starch because I can buy it in bulk in my own containers at the bulk shop up the road, and it's really, really cheap. And I also use it in my homemade body powder, and I really like it. So, but whatever you want to use, that's up to you. So 3/4 of a cup of that. I will put the recipe in the description as well. As well as that, you are going to need 1/4 of a cup of a product called, or an ingredient called Diatomaceous Earth, which looks like this, and it's a sort of a beigey powder. Now, this is a naturally occurring mineral. You can do all your own research into this ingredient. There's heaps of information online. You do need to make sure that you're buying food grade Diatomaceous Earth because it has quite a few different applications. It's used as a natural pest control in the garden. It's used for a whole range of different things, but if you don't go buying it from the garden centre, because it won't be food grade, it'll probably be commercial grade, and you don't want that. You need to make sure it's food grade, and you can get it from health food stores. You could get it online. It's quite widely available and it's not very expensive. I again get mine from the bulk shop up the road, but yeah, you'll have to try and source your own, but I wouldn't imagine. I mean, I've seen it here online all over the place, but just please make sure that it is food grade. Now it's fossilized remains of little tiny aquatic organisms called diatoms. And what's really great about it in this deodorant is that it neutralizes odor, and it acts like it draws moisture as well, in a natural way. Whereas antiperspirants clog up all your pores, and then it basically just stops you sweating. This is a fantastic alternative, and I will never ever go back to using anything other than this deodorant because it ticks all the boxes for me. But again, do your own research. You can actually use this as a natural flea treatment for your cats. I use it on my cats. I have one cat that has to be on this ridiculously expensive flea treatment because she gets flea allergy, dermatitis. If she gets one bite from a flea, she just turns into an absolute hellcat, like it's terrible. So she's got to be on this really fancy, expensive flea treatment. But I do douse her with this every now and again, and what happens is that you sprinkle this on as you would like a normal flea powder, and then they lick it and they ingest it, which helps with the flea allergy, dermatitis, but it also, like this stuff, it kind of breaks down the shell of the flea and it dries like the ecoskeleton and it dries everything out. It's amazing stuff. So anyway, that was a bit of a long explanation. So you need 1/4 cup of Diatomaceous Earth in there and give that a bit of a stir. Hope everyone is well. How is it in your neck of the woods with the whole COVID? We're doing pretty well over here, I must say. We get a few cases. I think we had 2 yesterday, but they are returning New Zealanders and they are immediately put into isolation. So we don't have, I'm making a mess, we don't have any community transfer, which is awesome. But yeah, I know it's pretty bad in Australia, or certain parts of Australia. Over in Victoria, it's pretty bad, and I know it's not very good in the States either. It's just been, what a year. What a year. You sort of think, well, what else is going to go wrong? So give that a good stir. I'm going to pause this for a bit because I have a few lumps, so I will be back. Maybe. Okay. So mix that together, and then you will need 1/2 cup of melted coconut oil. Now you could use either unrefined coconut oil, so you get like a nice coconutty smell, or refined. It doesn't matter. I use refined because I have a massive bucket of it that I use for my soap making. So I always use refined because, well, it's cheaper actually. So just pour that in like so. I don't know if I mentioned that I'm actually wearing my pajamas. I wouldn't wear this in public. I'm wearing Harry Potter pajamas because it's Sunday morning and I'm having a bit of a lazy one today. It's not quite 9:10. And I have some time because hubby's out at a car thing with the neighbour. So there you go. Right, so you just need to mix this all together until it is all mixed in. Okay, so I ended up adding a little bit more coconut oil. It was just a little bit too dry. I don't think I had quite 1/2 cup, so I ended up adding about another, I don't know, like a tablespoon or so. You want it to sort of be this creamy consistency, like pudding. Now, you can leave this unscented if you like. Some people don't like any scent in their deodorant. I like a little bit, and I use a combination of lavender essential oil, rosemary essential oil, and just a little bit of sage essential oil because I like that quite herbaceous kind of scent. So around 30 drops, I would say, of essential oil. You could use, hang on, I'm just going to count this out because if I don't, I'll end up putting like way too much in. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 of, it might have been a little bit more, 10 of lavender, and then drop it on there. It's not particularly fabulous, and then just a couple of sage. That's quite strong. You could use tea tree. That is a really popular scent or oil to use in, oh my god, that smells lovely. I don't particularly care for tea tree. I don't know, something about it that just kind of I don't like. But you could use that. You could just use lavender. Lavender is a really nice, safe essential oil. Like I said, you can leave it unscented. I have done this in a safe orange. You have to be a little bit careful with citrus essential oils because some of them can photosynthesize. So just do your research. You could use a fragrance oil if you make bath and body products like I do. You could use a fragrance oil, but you will need to make sure that you're using the correct percentage. I don't use fragrance oils. In this, I like to use essential oils. So now I know you're going to look at this and say, well, it's brown and it looks a bit like mud and it's going to stain my skin, but it doesn't. It does set as the coconut oil hardens. It does set. So I'll just show you. That's like quite a bit. It doesn't. You just rub it in and it rubs in really nicely. So no, it doesn't. There's no colour there at all. Like it doesn't. It smells gorgeous. It won't stain your skin, and it dries. It's amazing stuff. Yeah, I love it. Okay, so now the sun's coming out. And it's going to be awkward with lighting. So here we go. I don't know if you can see that because of the sun now pouring in my kitchen window. You can just put this in a glass jar, and then just scoop it out. It will go quite hard, like if your bathroom's cold. I just keep this in the bathroom cupboard, and it will go quite hard if it's in the bathroom cupboard. So, I mean, it's not impossible to get out, but you do have to sort of dig down a little bit. But I sometimes do that. You could probably pour this into a deodorant bottle. You can get them at, Bath and Body product, like soap supply stores and things like that. The little push-up plastic deodorant bottles, you could pour it into that and then it will set in there, and then that's really convenient. Or you can use little silicone molds. I have some little pumpkin molds here that I use for my wax tarts. They're really cute, you can see. So I'm going to try putting some in these. I haven't used this before. I can't find my mold, actually. I don't know what I've done with it that I normally use. So anyway, I will fill this up and then we'll be back. Okay, so there we go. I will just go and put this in the fridge for a couple of hours and they will set up quite nicely. And what I like about this idea is that you can just pick one, like just have one and then just apply it and just rub it on under your arms instead of digging it out of a jar. But I just wanted to show you, this is the jar that I'm just about finishing up. I haven't got much left at all. I just kind of wanted to show you the consistency of it when it's actually set. So it rubs in nicely, it dries, it has a really nice dry feel, and you can see there's no residue left, like it doesn't stain your skin. Oh, that smells really good. So it's silky, soft, but it's not greasy, which is what I like. So excuse the manky jar, but so you can put it in a jar. I just thought that I would try using these silicone molds for convenience. And you probably could take one, like if you're putting it into little individual molds, you probably could take one with you, like if you were, I don't know, going away or going to work or whatever. But I would put it into a sealed jar because it does contain coconut oil, and if it's in like a really hot environment, then it's obviously going to melt. Or like a little tin or something like that. I mean, it's perfectly fine to use if it's melted. It still has exactly the same properties. It's still going to work, but just bear that in mind. Okay, so that's it for me, and have a great day, and I will see you later. Bye.